Once again, another beautiful year is gradually coming to an end. And we want to, on this solid, solemn, and a glorious, happy moment, wish each and every one of you a very, very blessed Merry Christmas. And obviously a prosperous, glorious, highly favored New Year. What a season, what a year. A very eventful year, a year full of action activities here and there. And we are grateful to God that at the end of the day, He is bringing us gradually back, to the end of the year. So from me and the team, we want to wish you all once again a very Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year. You make us who we are by the grace of the Lord. Your continuing stay with us helps us, and your support in diverse ways keeps us going. And so once we are here today, we are excited and we thank God for your life. We want to let you know once again that this is the word. And if for any reason this is your first time of connecting or joining, we normally share the heart of God with you. But as we have explained from the previous sessions, this particular few weeks and months, we are looking at establishing a new order. And so I would encourage you to, just for a moment, as we get ourselves ready, just get a friend to come online so that we know we can have it very conversational. I want it to be very conversational today. It's not going to be just preaching, or teaching. It is an interactive session. So please, just get online right now, invite a friend, and let's get going. We are looking at dealing with a challenge, dealing with a situation. Recently, on social media, and I believe that is something quite a number of us know, but I will not mention names for obvious respect of the personality involved. But a great man, one of the industrial pillars of this nation, who had good businesses going on. And recently there's been a bit of challenge here, and I'm asking myself what will come out of this? What is the legacy of this man? What is he leaving with the next generation? We have said that here in Ghana and in Africa and across the globe, many people, and this is not just we saying it, research has indicated, and I will not want to bother you with previous presentations that we've done, but because of what has happened recently, that is why I'm bringing it back. Shows that people are unable to sustain the things that we talk about. I was just listening, I think it's an old program, but today I was just listening to Asempa FM, they are Acquah saying with Omar and Obi. And they were discussing some of the very things we are talking about here in transleadership. How we are able not to sustain the things that we begin to do. How things easily die in our hands, especially when the founders, the vision bearers, the dreamers are no more. Even if it was when they are no more alone, that would have been, not good though, but something that we could have managed. But even in the lifetime of the dreamers, even in the lifetime of the visionaries, things fade, die in their hands. Businesses in Africa and businesses within our enclave are not sustained. When it comes to the spiritual world, where we have the Holy Ghost, Almighty Holy Ghost, the Lord God Almighty with us, you see ministries beginning so well and dying off. You see pastors starting so well and not able to keep the fire. The slightest temptation, people go off their fire. And so this discourse is not intended to bring some superiority to show that we know too much, but to let us discuss and engage and see how together we can find living legacies as our hallmark. And so we have explained trans-leadership. Trans-leadership. We want to look at a new paradigm, a new way of living legacies, where when you start something, it does not die in your hands. I'm talking about situations where when you begin something, you are passionate about something, you want something to stay. What are the skills? What are the relevant skills that you need so that you will be able to keep the fire going, keep the organization going? So we defined transfer leadership as the ability to produce remarkable, tangible, and lasting changes. Now, this is critical, that whatever God places in your hands, you cannot, let's say, for instance, those of us who are pastors, you cannot be given a church or a congregation and you just pastor them and just go like that. No, you must leave a remarkable impact. You must produce. So what we are saying is that you don't need to have it. You don't need to have it existing. Once, even if it is not there, you must have the skill to produce it. And that is why we're talking about producing remarkable and tangible changes. And the changes should be something that is visible, that is tangible. It should be something that is obvious, something that is lasting, something that is lasting, something that is kept as it is, whatever you have, and you are able to keep it and not let it die in your hands. So, and we are saying that the ability to produce remarkable, tangible, and lasting. And this is the underlining word. Things must last. If you have a vision, if you have a dream, it must last. So as we celebrate Christmas, can't you see? We've been celebrating Christmas for God knows how many years. It is a lasting legacy. It's a reminder of what Jesus has left with us. And so you too, that is our prayer. And that is what this series seeks to do. So as I've indicated, I would require you to register right now. And so you want to just check on my platform right now. Get the link. Register. Now, the reason why I'm asking you to register is that the discussion will be exclusive. It's not going to be just out there on the street, and it's going to be an interactive time. The challenge with just doing it open is that you can't have that interaction, you can't have that engagement. So we're going to have a webinar session, and you need to be registered so that we can send you all the details. We don't want people to start crossing us. And we'll be discussing, we'll be looking into how to keep things, how to cause things to last. So, and we are saying that even if that thing is not tangible, it's not remarkable, you must have the capacity to do it. Let it happen. So no excuses, as I keep telling people, no excuses. And then the changes should be through intentional connectivity. You must have capacity to intentionally connect with people and then create a capable team that will help you achieve the goal. So keywords, ability. You must have ability. And in these sessions, we will sharpen our ability. 2, the ability must not just be any ability, but an ability to produce, to bring into life, bring into being. And then that which you produce must be remarkable. And not just remarkable, but something visibly shaking of the system. Something that people can testify and say that is tangible. And then, importantly, lasting. And we are saying that we've shown the way it's going to be done through intentional connectivity. And then you must be able to create, even when there is none. And that is the power God has given mankind. The power to be like God, to create, even when there's nothing existent. And we have explained that all these things, what we're going to discuss in transfer leadership, can have effect, whether it's in organizations, whether it's in business, whether in career, ministry, relationship, marriage. So we've gone over that. And then we also established that there are key principles that we have to look at. We looked at previous sessions, we looked at the definition of leadership by other key leadership leaders, writers and authors and people in the leadership fraternity. But we have explained that it goes beyond just influence. And so we said at the last time that it's the ability of you yourself as a leader to carry yourself. You must have the skill to transrelate your own self. You must have what it takes to reinvent your own self. You must have what it takes to reignite your own passion, to lead yourself. You must have capacity to lead yourself. How do we do that? These are the things we'll be looking at during the exclusive session. So once again, if you have just joined us, I'm saying that from the 8th, we had originally planned from the 1st, but it became necessary to change it and rather start on the 8th of January 2023. 8th of January 2023. You realize that I keep bringing it in because these are teasers. These are laying the foundation for what we're going to do. So it's important you understand me. And sometimes some of us join later, so I keep going back to the critical issues. So you need to register. Get a link and register. And then we'll learn how to carry yourself as a leader. And then how, not just you being the leader, you must be able to transrelate yourself and then also be able to bring people along. And we explained last week that there are basically 3 things that must anchor your capacity to leave living legacies. Your capacity to keep things alive. And as I always say, and I will say it almost every day, your capacity to not allow anything, whether a vision, whether a relationship, whether business, whether ministry, to die in your hands. Nothing should die in your hands. So your capacity to carry yourself and the team along depends on 3 things. Number 1 is you yourself, the leader, must have capacity to be dedicated. Dedication. Now, how do you maintain that level of dedication as a transrelator yourself? And how are you able to bring others to imbibe, to catch, to be connected with the same level of dedication? The challenge is this. Most leaders, visionaries, founders, presidents, corporate leaders have a kind of dedication, but somehow we are unable to transmit same to the people we lead. And so you look at the government sector, and then you have somebody being a minister of whatever, or a chief director, very committed person. But then those who work have some funny, laissez-faire attitude towards the work. There's a missing link. And that is what we want to discuss. Until we are able to transmit the same level of dedication to those we lead, we will have a challenge. The next thing is not just dedication. Some people are so dedicated, but they do not add excellence. So we are saying that of the 3D, the first one is dedication. The second one is distinction. You as a leader must be a product of excellence, distinction. You should not accept your own capacity below standards. No. Mediocrity must not be allowed into your system. And it's only when you are obsessed with distinctions, then you'll be able to commit that or translate that into other people. And then we also last talked about, you see, you may be very dedicated, it may be excellent, but there should be fire in it. And that's what we talk about, dynamism. There should be excitement. Sometimes what you're doing is excellent, but people can't even appreciate it. There's no excitement. You are unable to create dynamism in what you do. So these 3 cardinal things, dedication, distinction, and dynamism, are things that are critical for anything to be sustained. In other words, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, If you are a president of a church, if you're you're a commanding bishop of a church, an overseer of a church, if you are a CEO of a company, if you are starting a car industry, you are starting a bread industry, you are beginning marriage, you are beginning training your children, you must have an ability to imbibe dedication that will be transmitted this year, next year, from generations unborn. And that is why we need to sit down and think and strategize together. There must be a new paradigm in the kind of things we do in a country. And so 30 years, we should carry the same dedication, same distinction, same dynamism. How do we achieve that? How was Jesus able to do it? Said that, you look at the life of Jesus, it's very interesting. You look at his legacy. And when even one world, let's say Europe, at a point was so much on fire for Christ, and then maybe somewhere along the line you see that the fire is going down, then it catches somewhere else, maybe in Latin America. Then if something is happening, it catches in Africa. So there's always a point of revival, what we call the center of gravity across the globe. And that is what we're talking about. So that even if you lose steam somewhere, it should be ignited somewhere. So that the core vision must keep growing. And that is what we are looking at. So that, let's say you start a new brand of a car, you start a new brand of music. Now, maybe the style of music or play may catch on for some time. After some time, that style may go down. But a translator must have capacity to know that, okay, this style is changing. How do I bring in a new vibe so that with the new style I bring, my legacy will still be contextualized. Generations unborn will still find usefulness. These are skills. Now, if Jesus was able to do it, we should be able to think through and have answers to it. So today we are continuing by saying that these things must be transmittable. And how do we achieve that? Now, to be able to achieve that means that right from the word go, we should have generational focus. Right from the word go, we should have generational focus. And the problem with quite a number of us that we are so focused on today, and presidents have that challenge, politicians have that challenge, because they realize that if you don't focus on today and give milk and honey, they'll vote you out. They'll vote you out. And so people are more concerned about how to give us milk and honey today. And so unable to take legacy living decisions. And the truth is this: human beings are human beings. They did it to God, and they will do it to you too. You can give them milk and honey, you can give them manna today. Tomorrow, when there's no manna, they will forget the manna you gave them today. And so it is important that you try to have a generational mindset, and generations will call you blessed. Once you have a generational mindset, what we're talking about, what we mean by that is that you have a kind of an attitude that is, have a grand picture of what the situation must be today and what is it likely to be in the future. You must have the dream, you have the vision, you must have the mindset to see into the future. And so you read the Bible, you look at the life of Jesus, and Jesus was able to tell what should happen between Judea, Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, to the outermost part. Jesus was able to give us what will happen. He had a global and a futuristic mindset as to what will be happening. You look at Paul. He was not Jesus. He, by the Spirit, was able to have a good idea that in the last days, this and that will happen. And so he's able to put in steps to do that. And so also we must begin to pray and seek the counsel of God, so that we know that, let's say, okay, being a pastor, can use my pastoral perspective, and within a concept of transfer leadership, I should be able to know that within 5 years, within 2 years, what kind of ministry will I be having? What kind of people would I lead? 10 years time, 20 years time, 40 years time, 50 years time, of course. Looking at my age, I don't want to even be in this world in 50 years time. No. 50 years, no. I'll be over 100, no. What am I doing in the world over 100 years? When there are beautiful bliss in heaven, a glorious place that we're going to enjoy. But I'm saying that we must still have a mindset that even when I'm not around in this world, my legacy will remain. And I can tell you, I believe by the grace of God, hundreds of years to come, people will still be discussing transfer leadership because we are thinking through. And I want a team of people, people who are generational, intergenerational, not even just generation, trying to connect one generation to another generation. What are the skills? And that is what translators do. They think beyond the box to provide a framework for even generations unborn. Right now, I don't have any intention of giving birth again. I pray I don't give birth again. But I should be able to connect with my children. I should be able to start thinking about how my children's children is going to be and what kind of thoughts or what kind of conversations we must have. Businesses must begin to think same way. If I'm not in charge, what will happen? So we are saying that everybody who is a translator must have an intergenerational agenda right from the word go. Now, the next thing is that the concept, that the cardinal pillar is that you are going to look at earthly and heavenly combination, and that your legacy will be remembered here on earth, but will be crowned in eternity. Your legacy. The problem is that quite a number of us are only so mindful of earthly legacies without knowing how to connect with eternity. And that is why businesses die, because there's no eternal connection with earth and heaven. You can have the best of ideas. You can come up with IT skills and all the beautiful stuff, but it is still earthly. It is still short-lived. It is still within the ambience of mortality. Until you come to the point where you're able to connect mortality with immortality in your dreams, in your visions, in your strategy, in your thinking. Now, when there's that connection, then you can leave legacies that will outlive you. Because you see, when you are not around, it takes a spirit to keep it going. And so you must have a concept of leaving a legacy behind that wells into eternity. So now, once you are very mindful of that, once you are mindful of, first of all, intergenerational, secondly, a connection between what will be remembered here and what will connect in eternity, then that will now provide you with looking at the tools. What do I need? What kind of skill sets? And that is why we want to discuss together with you and other minds, how do we achieve this? So you have to provide a tool for building the skill set needed to create the required following. How can I get people to buy into this agenda? How do I get people to buy into living legacies that will well up into eternity? What interventions will I put in place to sharpen those in leadership and those in followership? So these are the areas we are looking at. Now, we're going to end today's session. Wow, it looks like our time is already up. Our time is already up, and so we will maybe want to summarize. God willing, we're going to go into other things. But let me quickly add this. I'll just do a summary. Maybe next week, God willing, we're going to go through it. That you see, the focus must be anchored on something. I'm saying that first of all, you must have generational focus, and in the generational focus, you look at three areas. You look at intergenerational. Then I've also said you look at the concept of linking legacy on earth and what will be remembered in eternity. And then the third point is that you must then look at what are the skills and interventions. What are the skills and interventions? But these three dimensions I've spoken about is anchored, must have an anchor. And so we are saying that the cardinal anchors to transfer leadership, and that is what we'll be studying a lot, we'll be going deeper into, is that you must have a tangible transformation and leadership, you see, that is anchored on solid relationship with present and future generations in mind. Now listen to this carefully. You see, people achieve things sometimes solo. Others achieve things. They don't care whether it's going to hurt people or not. They just want to get there. Others too are able to fire the vision, motivate people, but they are unable to connect to the heart. They are unable to connect, build a solid relationship. What I mean is that they are unable to transfer ownership of the vision to the workers. So